All right, we're here at WTJU Air Studio, and we have one of the most virtuosic trios that you will ever find in one place at one time. And what it is we have Frank Vignola and Vinny Raniolo and Glenn Tosto. See, I'm a bit of a...
By the way, Air, did you bring the meatballs in for us?
Yeah, well, you know, Frank, you haven't been here. Glenn's never been here before. He's the new guy, so, you know, that's part of the hazing, right? All right, here it is, live in the Air Studio. It's the Frank Vignola Trio. All right, a little fun down here at the WTJU Air Studio. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Frank Vignola Trio brings them in. Here, Frank, let me try to put that mic up so I can talk.
How's that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
How you doing, folks?
Whoa.
Is that good?
Yeah, I had the production studio coming in on my board from the news there, but I fixed that too. All of a sudden, you had a big band behind you, but you couldn't hear that.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, Frank Vignola's back at the WTJU Air Studio. The last time you were here was about 3 years.
Yeah.
June of 2008. You were here on June 15th. And then Tom Emanuel came on in July, like July 5th or 6th.
Wow.
And
He's the best.
And after I watched you guys both do your thing,
Yeah.
it was like, boy, these guys got to play together.
Yeah,
These
we
guys are
sure
the people.
Done a lot of playing together in the past couple of years.
And how did that come about? And how did you guys end up finding each other?
I
like
met
that?
Tommy when I was with Les Paul. We would play every Monday night with Les, and obviously all the guitar players would come pay tribute from Paul McCartney on down. And one night he says, Tommy Emmanuel from Australia. And I had never heard of Tommy before. And then Tommy did his thing, and I fell off my chair. I couldn't sleep for a week.
That was like the first time I had heard it. Somebody said, yeah, Tommy Emmanuel. I said, well, I can't know everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And when you see him, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, no, he has an incredible performance skill. His guitar playing in all genres is just right at the top. And overall, his spirit with the music is like keeps him going in a big way. The guy does 320 shows a year.
He's a monster. He's a funny guy too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
He's got a great wit.
Yeah, we did 250 shows last year, about 50 of them with Tommy, over in England and Europe and the U.S. And then we were just on the MDA, the muscular dystrophy telethon. We got to play Avalon on there. And
Yeah, you came in and you both did. Those were harmonies, right?
Oh,
All of
yeah.
those leads were harmonies, and it was in perfect unison harmony.
Well, it's 3 hours a day practice on a bus for months at a time.
Really? So you met Tommy that way, and then did you have like a talk about getting together and doing a show? How did that kind of materialize?
Well, we met up at a guitar festival in Italy, Suave, Italy. And we did a lot of playing together on stage, and that was kind of the first time we really, kind of bonded. Then we, did a record together, and he was kind enough to ask Vinny and I join him on his tours to, play the first half of the show. And then he played his act, and then we'd come out and join together at the end. And that was just a lot of fun, I learned so much. There's a few guitar players who come along the way that have a huge impact on me anyway. First was, besides the records, when I met Howard Alden when I was in my teens, and he was kind of the first real guitar player that I actually heard and got to play with. And then later on it was Les Paul when I met him. Then later on it was Gene Bertoncini, and then it was Tommy Emmanuel. And just a few days ago I ran into Al Caiola. Who's 91 years old.
Awesome.
This guy plays like you wouldn't believe at the age of 91. So, these just great forces of, I wouldn't call them freaks of nature, but in a way there's, it's like these guys are just born to play and live guitar, and that's what they've done their whole life. And they're all just very nice, not bitter, just playing their music for the people. It's a wonderful headspace.
Well, I'm sure that Vinny and Glenn feel about you similar
Are
to
you
how
saying
you've
I'm old?
talked to this.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, you're no spring
saying-
chicken anymore.
Yeah, well, middle-aged. Officially middle-aged.
We don't really get a halfway mark that tells us like how long we got. So we just never know.
Well, Vinny and I do a lot of work together in the past 3 or 4 years. We travel all over the planet, usually as just the two of us. And we've recently added another guitar because I love guitar. I think you can't go wrong with as many guitars as you could put together if it's all done right. So on trio dates, we've been getting the other rhythm guitar going. Django had 2 rhythm guitar players, right? So
Absolutely.
that's it.
Those guys worked hard.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
Well, these guys aren't sweating yet, but
Yeah. Well, how about we make them sweat a little bit?
that's it. And tonight
And-
we're going
and
to
then
be sweating
we'll talk
at
a little
the,
bit more
the
and
light
play a little
well.
bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to do a little medley here of Tico Tico, Stairway to Heaven, and Gypsy Mania.
Okay. Sounds a little bipolar, but we'll take it. Frank Vignola Trio, which is a new kind of trio because usually the trio used to be a bass in the two guitars.
We got rid of the bass.
And you talked a little bit about
he resigned. He resigned.
Yeah.
I think.
Plus, it's too hard to carry a bass around half the time. Huh?
Well, we didn't realize that till after the fact. All the money on the rental car instead of a van, we get a nice little compact car. No
we
more
still love you,
extra
Gary.
luggage on- right, we do actually. Yeah. So.
Glenn has a thing with the Gypsy Jazz Caravan too. Are you still going to be doing that then, or?
Yeah, sure. I still play with the band Gypsy Jazz Caravan back in New York City, so we do some gigs over there all the time. We're always playing.
And is that how Frank found you?
Actually, I've known Frank for some time now. Started taking lessons with him back in the day. I was lucky enough to get hooked up with that, and over time we kind of became friends. And I'm just thrilled, and it's like a dream come true for him to ask me to come on these shows recently. It's really a thrill.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Vinny, you were.
Here's your $20, Glenn. Thank you so much, brother.
How old were you when you met Frank? Yeah, about.
I first met Frank and heard Frank for the first time when I was 15 because of my.
Tell him what you asked me. First thing he asked me.
Oh, well, I came backstage because my guitar teacher took me to the show, so he knew everybody. He took me backstage, and Frank was handing out his new CD with Mark
I
O'Connor.
was selling my new CD, but go ahead.
Well, I didn't see any transactions going on, so I as a young kid, so I'm handing them out, and I was like, oh. Mr. Vignola, could I have a CD? And Frank just looked at me, and after about 10 seconds of awkward silence, he said, "Yeah, here you go."
And can I have that guitar too?
And then I auditioned for him when I was about 20 years old, and we've been playing together ever since. I'm 27 now, and Frank and I have played probably, on average about 150 shows the past 7 years each year.
It's awesome. How long can you keep him?
How long can I keep Vinny?
Yeah.
Well,
They
don't
get
know.
good
That's-
and then they run away. They could
Well,
leave the
that's
nest.
okay. That's
Yeah,
okay
sure.
because there's always fresh talent. I mean, all over the world, you'd be surprised. Everywhere we play, we run into guitar players of all ages, and it's just amazing, right? The amount of talent out there. There's-
over the world.
All over the world. This 13-year-old kid from Romania showed up at a show we did in Ireland. 13 years old. He was playing like George Benson. I mean, it was amazing. So, music is a interesting journey. People come in and out of your life musically, and, I've always strived to be like the Modern Jazz Quartet. They were together for 50 years playing together. And then they would go off and do their little side things, and but it's always a sound that they had that's very recognizable. That's what I like about having the same people to work with, day in and day out.
So do you have a special relationship with this guy up at Orange at the Lightwell? Because, you play concert halls and you play on the MDA with Tommy Emmanuel. And this is a little restaurant, which, people don't get out there to see this little teeny venue.
Well,
and they're nearby. They're nuts.
Yeah, Buzz has been a friend for a long time, and we actually played at his house one summer. And he's just a really amazing guy, So he opened up, or actually his daughter opened up a little restaurant. So whenever we're heading down south, like we're playing Roanoke Friday and Saturday at the Kirk Avenue Music Hall, which is a great venue. So on the way down, we'll always stop in and get a good meal and say hi to Buzz and play some music. It's kind of an en route date, and it's we have a lot of fans in Orange, believe it or not, or Charlottesville from the old Gravity Lounge days.
Yeah. And they're over there. That place at Orange is on like East Main Street or right on the main street.
Right, there's
there.
only one street.
Yeah. Beautiful Orange.
But it really is a fine restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so you'll be starting up there at about 8 o'clock
8
tonight?
o'clock, we're going to play a nice long set and then head down to Roanoke for tomorrow night and Saturday night.
Got a 2-night stand in Roanoke at a music hall.
Yeah, Kirk Avenue Music Hall. It's a great venue. It holds about 120 people.
Uh-huh.
So we've been visiting there in the past 3 or 4 years. So, we just keep going.
Well, I know you love to play, so I'm
Yeah.
going to let you play some more right now.
Oh, okay.
If you
sure.
would.
Absolutely. What would you like to hear? Does anybody want to call in a request, maybe?
How about Luke? You still do Luke?
Luke, we haven't really done that one. I mean, we can if you really
No,
want.
that's okay. I mean, I don't care what you play. I mean,
How about Beethoven?
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I can handle that.
Next thing.
Classical, that'd be a gas, a bit of a classical gas.
Good title for the record.
You are listening to the Frank Vignola Trio right down here in the Air Studio at WTJU in Charlottesville, Virginia. I just can't thank you guys enough for coming down here and doing this. You guys are road warriors.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on the road. Well, we're driven by the beauty of bringing the music to the people in all parts of the country and the world. I mean, I feel really blessed to be able to, make people happy with playing the guitar.
Just watching you play,
the
way you look at each other and the way your interaction and your body language is while you play. It's so joyful that it's not about, we all have to make a living, but it's not about the money here. It's about the music.
Music comes first.
All the way.
The money will follow if the music is sincere.
It's just awesome.
And you spend 40 hours a week getting work.
Well, too.
To get the people to hear it. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to, open up markets. There's so many places on the planet, if you think about it. You go to a place first time and they never heard of you, you probably get 15 or 20 people. You go back again, you get 50 people. You go back again, you get 100 people. And you just keep building the fans all over the world.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you were fluid as a kid?
Oh, fluent as a kid?
Fluid as a kid when you were starting. And like if you can tell the children. I started at the age of 6, and
I used to play along with the classic guitar records, like... Django records and Les Paul records and Al Caiola and Tony Mottola records. I used to play rhythm guitar for my father and his banjo bands. There wasn't really a time where I didn't feel comfortable with the instrument in my hands. I mean, obviously you go through stages of, learning and development, and you learn new stuff that you may not be so fluid in, but you keep doing it, you become fluid in it. So, but I always just felt like I was born with a guitar in my hands, because I don't remember life without playing guitar. So
no shortcuts, eh?
No short. There's really not. And you got to play music in front of people. That's where you learn the most, I think, is doing gigs.
So even if you think you're not quite ready, get out there and make yourself do it.
You're always ready.
You're always ready.
15 songs. You can play in any place.
Well, that's great advice, because I know a lot of people will hang back and want to be. I don't want to go play it until I'm really perfect and ready.
Well, I mean, I'm like that in ways of new material. Like before we performed that Beethoven, we probably played it 500 times, 5 times, 6 times a day while on the road. And so, but you gotta start somewhere.
And that wasn't all Beethoven. What was the total medley?
Mozart Symphony 40, Movement 1.
Started out Beethoven.
Beethoven, 5th Symphony, Movement 1.
So there were just 2.
Right.
Two different compositions in
pieces,
that medley.
Yeah. We just scratched the surface with, comparison to the whole symphony. But it's fun to take great melodies and do our thing with it. And why not Beethoven? It's gypsy
just
music,
awesome.
Really.
What makes it gypsy music in the end? Is it certain rhythms or beats or time?
It's 500 years old, and it comes from Europe. And, the chords are the same as, what inspired gypsy and ethnic European music. Minor keys, and it's kind of the same chord progression, believe it or not, as a lot of gypsy songs.
So is there a different time then that makes that more, like what would the time signature change with the cadence to make it more in that
kind of
genre?
more parts, especially with the classical pieces. There's a lot of great melody, a lot of interludes, a lot of parts you play together. I mean, and then I would look for a section that kind of had a good chord progression that was conducive to play a little improvisation, put a couple of the country licks I learned in there.
We're talking to Frank Vignola. He's here with Vinny Raniolo and Glenn Tosto. And
Tosto.
Tosto.
Right. It's like Linguini El Tosto.
El Tosto. Well, I can get that now. Struggling with that, but here he is. Here is the Frank Vignola Trio, and they'll be playing at the Lightwell in Orange. And they've got to get up there and get comfy and eat and set up. So I'm going to ask if you might play one more tune for us.
One more, huh?
And then we can let you go so you can get there on time.
Okay. How far
And-
is it from here?
It's about 40 minutes.
Are you kicking us out of the studio?
No, no, no.
By the way, I got to say,
You want to stay longer?
No, I've never met anybody with the name Aer, A-E-R.
All right.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the AER amplifiers.
I am. Tommy Manuel stole it. It used to be
They are-
mine.
Oh, really? They're the best amps on the market, German made, and they're AER. So
Yeah.
I love your name.
I always want to grab one. I say, hey, that's mine. It's got my name on it.
Any call-in requests or?
Well, we didn't answer any phones because you're on the air
You know what
live.
we'll do? We'll do a little quick little medley tribute to Les Paul and
that's nice.
Django. Okay,
Please do.
Okay, great.
You are listening to the Sound Choice in Central Virginia, WTJU Charlottesville. This is the Frank Vignola Trio live in the WTJU Air Studio.
How high the moon?
Frank Vignola Trio with a tribute to Les Paul, playing Les Paul music right here.
Thank
in
you, Aer.
the Air Studio. You guys are just awesome, and it's a sincere, special treat for us. It's Frank Vignola Day in Charlottesville, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Well, thanks for the invite. I appreciate you keeping track of the schedule and reaching out to me. It's so hard to.
Well, always. I just
Keep
am
up
always
with
tickled to have you come in, and it's my pleasure in the fullest.
Great. Well, thank you so much. All right.
All right, so Frank Vignola, you can catch the Frank